Conscious Build's mission is to educate and inspire people in the design-build community to think, to communicate, and to collaborate before we design and build anything. So tonight, I want to talk to you about sustainability, but not what we generally think of when we use the word sustainability. I'm not going to talk about sustainable building products, but I'm going to talk about a human element of sustainability, one that arises from collaboration. So, how does this work? How do we work together to build buildings and homes for ourselves that sustain and nourish the natural environments around us? We need to learn how to talk with each other in new ways and to share ideas freely and openly. I have a great local example of this working here in San Luis Obispo that I'm very excited to share with you tonight. This project is an important beginning in a collaborative process that could change the way we all work, build, and live together. The buildings you see here are the new headquarters of the San Luis Obispo Housing Authority and 19 living units designed to house some of the Housing Authority's clients. These buildings have been designed using repurposed shipping containers as their basic building material. It is a collaborative effort and has become a platform for many parts of our community to work together and interact in ways they don't usually. Once people know about it and understand how our approach has been different, I believe that these buildings will make a significant impact and will inspire other communities to follow San Luis Obispo's example. The project has been named HOME, Housing Opportunities Through Modular Environments. And we have some very talented San Luis Obispo Cal Poly students to thank for that clever name. The Housing Authority of San Luis Obispo can no longer fulfill on its vital mission to provide affordable housing for the people who live, work, and study in our community. Conventional construction costs have gone through the roof. This problem has reached crisis levels, motivating the Housing Authority to seek out viable alternative construction methods to reduce their construction costs. And this problem is not unique to San Luis Obispo. Communities all over the country trying to provide affordable housing are facing this same dilemma. How to provide adequate housing for people in need with ever-rising costs, tightening regulations, and, of course, the increasingly difficult lending climate. Our story, our local story, begins with MILU. MILU stands for Modular Expandable Living Units. This is AB Design Studios' winning entry in a competition sponsored by UC Santa Barbara to design a home built entirely of shipping containers. This project won national recognition by the Environmental Protection Agency for its life cycle contribution to sustainable design. Conscious Build was asked by AB Design Studio to build this project on UC Santa Barbara's campus. I felt that this was an extraordinary educational opportunity, and I contacted Cal Poly's architecture department and found a very viable ally in Professor Tom Fowler, who runs a interdepartmental discipline on Cal Poly's campus, and he thought this was a perfect project to involve his students in this year. The conversation I had with Tom Fowler was just a little bit less than a year ago. Carol Hatley, the executive director of the Housing Authority, has had a vision to build houses for her clients using innovative materials such as shipping containers for years now in order to reduce her construction costs. She had a conversation with Alan Root, who's here in the audience, who at the time was the chairman of the Architectural Review Committee of San Luis Obispo. Carol asked Alan if he thought that in her lifetime she would ever see buildings built in San Luis Obispo using such innovative building materials as shipping containers. Alan told Carol to go for it. Alan introduced me to Carol, and our team was born. Our team includes the Housing Authority, AB Design Studio, Conscious Build, and Cal Poly. We began to meet weekly last July to investigate the feasibility of this building typology. We used Milu as our inspiration, and we created the hybrid design you see here using repurposed shipping containers as the basic building block, and coupling them with a very simple steel framing. Using this method, we found that we could reduce the construction costs and long-term maintenance costs and the construction schedule, significantly. We have estimated a 70% savings per unit cost and a 33% savings in square footage cost over what the housing authority has typically spent to produce its units today. This is dramatic. We presented our findings to the Housing Authority's Board of Directors just 3 months after our first meeting. We received unanimous approval, and we prepared our first submittal for the Planning Department of San Luis Obispo. At the end of the initial 30-day interdepartmental review, we received a complete letter that our project could proceed to the Planning Commission. Now, this is unheard of. In all of our combined experience on the team, none of us have ever received a complete letter after a first departmental review. In fact, the letter is called an incomplete letter. Our incomplete letter was deemed complete. Now, this points to a city that's open to a new building typology that is cutting edge and represents some creative, out-of-the-box, pun intended, thinking. The Home Project represents a paradigm shift in how projects are designed and built and how communities can come together to get them built. Having diverse people involved in a project who interact from the beginning and throughout the process is more efficient and enables a greater scope of problems to be solved. Without each of the participants in our team working together from the start, we never would have gotten as far as we have as fast as we did. The key is that each one of the participants, the architect, the contractor, Cal Poly, the Housing Authority, agreed early on that the success of the project was our main goal. We adopted a mantra, "It's the project, stupid." When everyone is working towards the same goal and individual members set aside their personal concerns, then you have an honest, collaborative effort that has a real chance of producing something new. Without trust-based collaboration, participants will remain in the adverse relationships that hinder many of our industries today. Some groups will remain outside the process and not be a part of the collaborative effort. And these groups will continue to compete with each other and safeguard their own interests. However, there can be any number of communities invited to sit around the group table. All of these communities can contribute to the success of the project and will benefit from the process. There can be surprising benefits for participating communities. They have an opportunity to get some of their own issues resolved by being a part of the same process. These unintended outcomes for the Home Project are impressive and prove just how fruitful this can be.